Okay, Josh here with Wired Watt Smart. Today's guest is my friend Joe Cardenas of Reliant Electric. He's actually a former employee and somebody who has kind of grinded it out and became a journeyman electrician and started his own company within the last few years. So we're just going to talk some blue collar stuff. We're going to talk business stuff, and we're going to hear Joe's story of how he kind of got started and kind of what drove him to take that leap of entrepreneurship. And so this is an episode I'm real excited about. When I first had this idea of getting this podcast going, this was actually one of the first guys that I kind of thought about interviewing. And so we're just going to get into it, man. This is Joe. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hello, as Josh stated, I'm Joe Cardenas. I used to work for Josh back in about 2018, I want to say. I'm a younger contractor based out of the Yakima area, and I've been in the industry for about, if you don't count trade school, probably since 2017. So
right on. So the route you went to Perry Tech, right?
I did, yeah. Went 2015, graduated 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so just for context, Joe, how old are you right now?
I am 28 years old.
28. Okay. And you went to high school in not Goldendale. Tell me where you went to high school.
I went to high school, well, actually just school in general, K through 12, Bickleton.
Bickleton, that's right. So
Yeah.
that's a very, very small like farming community, right?
Very small, man.
Okay.
Can't get away with a whole lot.
Right on. So what kind of drove you to get into the electrical trade?
To be honest, we were assigned, I think my sophomore year, to do a job shadow type deal. And my cousin, his name is Victor. He was the first person I thought of. Electrical kind of sounded cool at the time. And I just also wanted just an easy A at the time, if I'm being honest. So I knew that was kind of my easy in. Anyway, long story short, went to the job shadow. I kind of liked what I saw. And then I kind of took the chance and pursued an electrician. So yeah.
Nice. So you went into Perry like right after high school, or
I did.
So graduated high school within the next few months, you went to trade school.
I did. Yeah. I didn't mess around. My parents, kind of helped me just want to just focus and just get right in it, which is fine. I kind of think that's the way to do it. 'Cause once you start taking breaks and stuff, your motivation kind of loses a little. So.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing, so I took a year off after high school, and I was painting cars, and so for a few years there, I thought that's what I was going to do, and then it's like no, after seeing some of the guys in the auto body industry that were pretty beat up, and there's a lot of nasty chemicals and stuff that you're kind of around.
Sure.
I remember I was talking to one of the guys, and he was like in his mid 40s, and the dude looked like he was 65 years old.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do something different, and
Sure.
so that's kind of when I decided to go to Perry.
Mm-hmm.
I had really no idea what electrician was about,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to the walkthrough at Perry Tech, and I was like,
Sure.
yeah, this might be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I always knew I wanted to have my own business of some sort, and so I kind of looked at it. I knew a handful of guys that were just owner operators, right? They were running out of their van, and it seemed like a low overhead way to kind of be your own boss.
Sure.
And that was one of the reasons I got into electrical, is like, if I want to be my own boss someday, I knew a couple of guys that were doing it on a low scale level. And it's like, this might be something that you could do after a while.
Sure.
So you're only 28 years old, man. Like that's pretty impressive. When did you jump out on your own?
See, I was 25 when I started my business. Looking back, I will say this from a personal experience. I probably started a little too early just because I feel like I could have probably learned a little bit more, more so on probably the commercial side. So I feel limited to a certain extent, but there's plenty of work as an electrical contractor to where I'm not too worried about it, but I do wish I could have broadened my knowledge a little bit more.
Yeah. So you worked for me for like, almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm. About, yeah.
And then where did you go after that? So when you were working for me, you were mainly doing residential stuff.
Yep.
Right. So a lot of rough ends,
Sure.
remodels, like just kind of and those were the very early days of my company when
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty much taking whatever projects I could get.
Correct. Yeah.
And so, So you kind of learned that stuff with us, and then when you moved on, what did you do after that?
So then let's see. I think I went to I think Tolman Electric out in Grandview, and I was there until I carded out. And there I did a mix of residential, commercial. I think I still stuck with mostly residential, but I do have my O1 license. So anyway, I carded out as an O1 there, and then I chased the money in Seattle for 2 years, living out of a suitcase,
Oh,
Monday through Friday. It was rough, but the money was good. But after a while, I kind of learned money was not everything. At that point, I just took the jump and made the decision to start my own gigs.
so did you have any, so when you made that decision, like,
Mm.
did you have, like a plan? Did you have like did you have like steady leads that you were following? Did you have some contacts that you were like, hey, I can hit the ground running if I do this? Like,
Sure.
what did that decision look like for you?
If I'm being quite honest with you, Josh, I kind of just took a leap of faith. I wanted to start a business, but I didn't really have a plan. Really had no guidance. And the saying "YOLO, you only live once," and I was kind of I don't know if it's stupid, but that's kind of what I went off of. That was my motive. And 3.5 years later, here I am today, and it's been working out good. But yeah, I didn't really have a plan. My plan now, though, is to, kind of like where you're at, kind of want to start maybe hiring some guys and just to test the waters there, just get to the next level, I guess. That's
Absolutely.
what I'm always looking to do, but it's a process. I understand that. And yeah, so that's kind of where that led me.
So 25 years old, you were just like, all right, I'm gonna just start fumbling through it.
Yep, pretty much.
Like just I'm gonna take a leap of faith.
Hmm.
I'm gonna see what happens, and 3.5 years in, it's worked out, obviously,
Sure.
right? So, because I know for a long time, like I saw you just kind of riding around in your pickup,
Yep.
and
Yep.
now you got a van, right?
Yeah, I still got the pickup too.
Still got the pickup,
I
so
do.
now you got a van.
Yep.
Are you just kind of operating like out of your house?
Yeah, I've been operating out of my house since day one. And then, yeah, just kind of slowly just trying to grow. I'm not trying to get all the fancy trucks, everything, just trying to just slowly but surely grow and just,
Yeah, yeah.
so
And that's a good, I mean, that's a good plan, man. Like you're young enough that you can sustain that plan,
yeah.
right? So when I started Watch Smart, I was 30.
Hmm.
And like I was intimidated to start because I felt like I wasn't a good enough electrician.
Sure.
Like I kind of started tossing the idea around of going out on my own when I was about 26. But like I mean, there were a number of things that held me back. Like we had, and I won't say it held me back, but like,
Sure.
I had my son.
Yeah.
So there was, and my wife. And so there was like a level of like, man, I got to make money. Like these
Right.
people rely on me. And
Sure.
so like I kicked it around for years, trying to come up with a plan. But one of the things professionally that held me back was I didn't think I was a good enough electrician yet.
Hmm.
And so, like, I kind of told myself in those years from like 25 to 30 is like,
Hmm.
okay, when I feel like I'm just like a badass electrician, like I don't need to call people for help. Like
Sure.
I felt like once I had that stuff figured out
Hmm.
all the way where I was super confident, then I was like, then I'll really get serious about trying to come up with a game plan.
Sure.
And that served me well because, I did a lot of commercial industrial stuff.
Nice.
And that's kind of where I got all of my foundation. I didn't do residential electrical work until I started my own company.
Oh, dang.
And so like, but as a new contractor, I mean, as you know, you're taking whatever work you can get,
Sure.
right? And
Yep.
so naturally, those are kind of the first things that I fell into.
Sure.
And I was doing a lot of side work for the previous 2 years before I
Hmm.
started my company.
Yeah, we all do.
I was doing a lot of side work, right?
Sure.
And it got to a point to where it was like, man, I'm doing, 30 hours a week of side work on top of my 40-hour week job.
Hmm.
And so I slowly just kind of got it to a point to where, I was getting the word out like, hey, I'm thinking about jumping out on my own.
Right.
And when I finally did it, it just worked out. I
Sure.
mean, the timing was good in the economy to where we were coming out of that 2008 crash,
Sure.
right? And things were kind of starting to get momentum, and it was just the timing for us was good.
Sure.
But there's a lot of challenges there, man, like, as you know,
Mhm.
right? So, like, for you, like, what are those challenges for you? Like, right now, owner-operator, like I know what the challenges are,
Sure,
but, like,
sure.
I wanna hear it from your mouth,
Sure.
like, what do you feel like those big challenges are?
Well, as you probably are aware, I mean, as a one man show, you're wearing all hats, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not Superman. I got to remind myself I can't do everything, but I've been very good about getting what I need to get done. But I guess it just leads to long hours. Sometimes you got to learn to do that work life balance in a way.
yeah.
I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge, and I think I've been good about it. But I would say that's probably the biggest challenge is just trying to remind yourself you're not Superman, even though you got to wear all the hats to make things roll in. That's honestly, that's been my biggest thing. I've never really had problems with customers, nothing about losing things or I don't really know. That's probably really the only problem I've had.
Yeah, so do you have anyone that helps you, like, on the office side of things, on the administration side?
Sure. To be honest, I said I wear all the hats. I've pretty
Yeah,
much done everything. I had my wife at one point help me, but it just got to the point where she was just bored because I can't keep her busy enough to be a full-time deal, barely even a half-time
yeah.
deal. So it's kind of just been me. I do have an accountant and a bookkeeper, what have you, but
Yeah, and that's a great move.
yeah, oh yeah. And
Yeah.
I told myself, hire people that have skills that you have no idea what the hell. Like, that's their profession. Let them hire because otherwise it just leads to problems if you try to just learn, and that's financial stuff. I'm not trying to mess around with
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
so
and that's a good point. I mean, that's one of the first things I did too was
Mhm.
hire a legitimate accountant to
Sure,
kinda help me through the weeds of that. I mean, like, you have to have an idea of what that tax situation looks like,
sure.
and you have to have somebody to kinda advise you, but you definitely want somebody, like, overlooking that,
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure.
And so, yeah, man, it's a delicate balance trying to kinda balance everything out,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Um, and I know you've asked me kinda in the past about trying to scale and trying to grow, and it's such a fine line there, right?
Right.
Like, well, do you have enough work for another employee? Do you
Sure,
have enough capital to bring on another employee? Like these are all valid things that you have to measure before, you take that jump and
sure.
bring somebody on.
Yeah. Well, because not only does that add stress just having somebody in general, but not only now at that point are you providing for you and your family, but now you're providing for their family too, right? So the stress is
Absolutely.
on, as
Yeah.
you know. So yeah,
Yep.
it's I don't know, just one level at a time. I haven't had any mentors, guidance, whatever since. I don't know if you got any, but I've just been kind of teaching myself as I go.
Yeah, man, and I mean, I was the same way. Um, out of the gate, I didn't really have any mentors or anything like that.
Hmm.
I met some people along the way that
Hmm.
have kind of, got me in touch with the right people or
Sure.
kind of got me into the right networks to where it's like you can bounce ideas off people. Cause
Hmm.
like one of the things that's isolating as a business owner is um you don't have a big network of people to relate to, right?
Right.
And so you kind of get isolated with these issues you're dealing with,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
you're stressed out, you're trying to figure out a schedule, you're trying
Hmm.
to meet deadlines, you're trying to pay taxes, you're trying to pay yourself, like
Sure.
like it just keeps adding up,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
And when you try to have those conversations with, the regular 9 to 5
Sure.
person, a lot of times they don't relate to that
Right.
because they have no idea with like what you're dealing
Sure.
with. And so it really helps to have just a handful of people, a small network of people that you can bounce ideas off of. You
Hmm.
can say, "Hey, this is what I'm struggling with," or "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing to scale like any insight."
Sure.
And if you have somebody like that, the information, like if there's that level of trust, the
Mhm.
information you can get out of other people
Sure.
is it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I mean, you're a super likable guy, and so, um, I think you would easily get information out of people if you kinda had that network of
Sure.
people.
Yeah.
But it's such a tricky thing, man, because when you're that one man operation, the money that you put in your pocket comes down to billable hours,
Sure.
right? And so it's like, to make whatever amount of money you wanna make,
Mhm.
that there's, only so many hours in a day, right?
Sure.
And so, that scaling part is so hard, especially if you want to do it slow and if you don't want to borrow money.
Right.
And so you got to have a stack of money sitting there
Yep.
to kind of get you through the slow times
Mhm.
and to kind of get your employee through the slow times, because
Right.
once you bring on an employee, it's like you got to keep them in 40
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they're going to leave.
Mhm.
And obviously there's different caveats to that,
Sure.
but in general, when you bring people on, like they want to work.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the thing of it too is you're well aware, like, you wanna find the right employee too. You don't wanna just hire some guy that's just there for the paycheck and doesn't really care about what he's doing, because
Yeah,
it's electrical, right? It's so lives are at stake at the same
it's
time.
a big deal. Yeah.
It is, and for me, and just like you starting your business, nobody's gonna care about your business as much as you do, right? And you gotta remember that. So, there's a reputation you're trying to build, and the fear for me is if you hire somebody, are they gonna take it just serious or at least give a crap to, do a good job, clean up after themselves, and just all the little things,
Yeah.
to keep that positive reputation. So I don't know. I mean, and in the electrical trade, there's a lot of, a lot of rough looking guys and just, but a lot of nice guys too. But
Yeah.
just you're trying to build an image, and it's just I feel like it can be hard in our industry because of that rough stereotype of a man that's usually in the trade.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I got to get over that in a way, just because if I have that mindset, I'm not going to grow. I mean, I have to take the chance and hire people, and I guess that's a question for you, like, how do you know what do you look for when you're interviewing or whatever to find the right candidate, if you will?
So, I mean, that's a great question. Like for me, when I'm hiring for a position,
Mhm.
like it's typically okay. Is this person going to be, an entry level guy
Sure.
that's roughing in houses, or is this going to be somebody that has a skill set that's going to go do their own service work? Right?
Sure.
There's a big difference there.
Mm.
If I'm hiring for, a guy on the new construction crew, it's like, hey man, like in the interview, it's like, A, did you show up on time?
Sure.
B, like I will check references, but for those guys, the entry level, like new construction guys, it's like I'm looking for a guy who's, somewhat fit,
Sure.
a guy who's ready to show up early,
Mhm.
a guy who can communicate,
Yeah.
just like in the interview, can sit here like you are and like
Mhm.
have eye contact and have
Sure.
have just a good positive interaction,
Mhm.
not an awkward interaction.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, I mean, and that's really it, man.
Mhm.
I mean, but if I'm hiring a journeyman that I'm gonna send out to do service work
Mhm.
and meet with people, then all the things you touched on are very important, right?
Sure.
Appearance, uh, hygiene.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I've had guys that don't shower, and it's like, hey man, like you're going into somebody's house, like you need to smell right.
Right. Sure.
Like that's a big deal,
Yeah.
right? And then, obviously the electrical knowledge, like are they, do they have a journeyman's card?
Mhm.
If they don't, I mean, that's a problem there because they can't be unsupervised.
Right.
Um, so I mean, for journeyman electricians, the qualifications is everything. I
Mm.
mean, if you got a journeyman's card, you pretty much are set.
Sure.
But yeah, man, appearance, work history, past experience,
Mm.
like, hey, have you done what kind of electrical work have you done?
Sure.
Because I mean, as you know, there's so many like trades within our trade, right?
Mhm.
There's guys who are specialized in commercial, guys who are industrial, guys who are residential,
Yep.
guys who have done service for years, guys who have only done new construction for
Yeah.
years. And
Yep.
so, like, those guys that have only done new construction, probably there's going to be a learning curve when they go to do service.
Mhm.
And so, to find that guy that fits in with smaller companies like ours that kind of, we do everything,
Sure.
right? To find those guys is hard, man. Like
Sure.
to find a guy who kind of has a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I mean, it's hard. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times what I'm finding is you're taking a chance on somebody,
Mhm.
and you're going to know within the first 90 days like if that's going to work out,
Right.
like, if values align, if work ethics align,
Sure.
if standards align. Like you have a standard that's way up here
Right.
quality wise, appearance wise, like the reputation of your company, the standards up here,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah.
Some people's standards, whether it's personal, professional, whatever, some
Mhm.
people's standards are here.
Sure.
And so you have to make that decision. Okay, like, are we going to meet in the middle on standards?
Mhm.
Or, hey, man, the standards up here,
Sure.
if you can't get here, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And I've had that conversation with multiple people, and some people rise up and they wanna do better and they wanna meet the standard and they
Sure.
wanna be a team player, and other people don't have it.
Mhm.
And it's like, "Hey, man, this is where I work. This is my standard. I've
Right.
been doing this for 10 years. It's been good enough."
Mm,
And my answer to that is, well, if your standard doesn't meet the WattSmart standard,
right.
you gotta go. Those are and dude, those are the things that you have to deal with when you scale.
Right.
You know, when you bring employees on and you grow, I mean, that's the hardest part, man,
Mm,
because you could be the best electrician in the world, but if you can't handle conflict with employees and you
sure.
can't have difficult conversations and you can't like stick to your guns on
Mm,
your standards, then it just, it's just a recipe for like shit to go
sure.
sideways.
And I guess another question I'd like to ask you just on that hiring process, like, coming from a one-man show to a potential two-man operation at that point, do you recommend it'd be a smart move to just hire a journeyman or an apprentice? Because in my personal thought process, and I'm still new, so please do correct
Yeah,
me if
no,
I'm wrong. In my thought process, the whole point of hiring somebody is to allow you as the owner to take that much more of a step back from the physical labor part of it, so you can focus on growing the business.
yes.
So in my thought process, it's like, okay, well, if you're financially stable, just hire a journeyman. Then that way you don't got to supervise, and they can go out make the dough, and then eventually you can maybe hire a team with an apprentice and that journeyman
Yeah.
together. I don't know if that's the move to make, but um,
Yeah, so my advice to that is you have to have a clear goal in mind,
sure,
right? Like it kind of starts with that. Like I write my goals down. Like I have my goal board right there.
nice.
So like I'll just read them out. Like my goal board right now, 5 million in total sales. I want to grow my service department to 2 vans full time, 3 techs with 1 coordinator.
Hmm.
I want to get my new construction side back up to 8 guys. And then, like, I have some notes there, land your jobs and this can happen. And then another thing, I want to continue growing Sonos Ring and Lutron division.
Hmm.
So, like that's the stuff that I put on my goal board in January. Um, I want to have a clear vision of where I want to go,
Sure.
right? And if you have a vision, then you can start implementing a plan, right? So like when you ask that question, I hear that like one of the goals you want to have
Hmm.
is you want to step back from doing the billable hours
Hmm.
and you want to start implementing plans to grow your company,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So the only way to do that is to not be physically on every single one of your jobs.
Right. Correct.
And so in order to do that, you got to hire a journeyman,
Sure.
right? And so and more than likely you're going to have to hire a journeyman with a helper because there's not too many journeymen that want to go out by themselves and struggle their asses off,
Yeah.
right? And so and the big thing you have to keep in mind with that is um you're a stud, man. It's your company. You're out there. You're doing two-man shit all the time by yourself.
Yeah.
I guarantee it, you are
Oh, I am.
every
Believe me.
single day, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as you put an employee in that situation,
Hmm.
there's going to be a level of frustration. They're going to be like, "Hey man, like I'm out here trying to pull wire through an attic
Sure.
and get this shit done
Hmm.
and I'm by myself and I'm struggling." And
Hmm.
then you do that a handful of times to a guy and they're going to be annoyed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're going to be like, "Damn it, Joe, like you're sending me out here. I'm struggling
Sure.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?"
I get you.
And it's
Yeah.
like I try to play all those scenarios out in my head, like when I'm putting teams together and when I'm sending guys out to jobs
Hmm.
and like I'm trying to like make sure that the personalities on the teams are going to match
Sure.
up.
Right.
But but that's the tricky part with scaling,
Mm.
right? It's like you want to build your business, but you still have to have billable hours in order to feed that business,
Sure.
right? And that's why I say like it comes down to a couple of key things when you're going to scale. Do you have the leads
Hmm.
to feed 2 more employees?
Sure.
And do you have the money to pay 2 more employees in that process
Hmm.
while you're scaling?
Sure.
And so, and it's a process, man. Like it might be something that you get into, and after 3 months, you run out of work, and
Hmm.
you're faced with the decision, like,
Right.
am I going to go borrow money to keep scaling,
Sure.
or am I going to tone it back down to Joe?
Right.
And I wrestled with that for the first 3 years of my business, man, like, trying to figure out how to scale, trying different things,
Mhm.
hitting roadblocks, hitting my freaking head against the wall,
Sure.
trying to figure it out.
Mhm.
And it's not an easy thing, dude, and you have to get comfortable with the fact that
You're being uncomfortable.
yes, and that's exactly what it is. You have to be comfortable with the fact that you're gonna be in uncomfortable situations.
Mhm. Sure.
And, for me, like, when I started, like, I had no choice, man. Like, it was like, Talon was 3,
Mhm.
like, me and Stephanie, we weren't even married yet, but
Sure.
we had just bought a house,
Mhm.
and, like, I remember, like, telling her, like, I was like, "I think I'm gonna start my own business," and, like, bless my wife's heart, like, she was so supportive, and she's like, "I know you can do it," but I know that she was thinking, "What the hell are you
Yeah,
thinking right now?"
that's how my wife was
It
too.
it you know, and that's the thing, man. I will say, like, the power of having a woman in your corner that has your back at all counts
Sure.
is one of the most powerful
Oh,
things.
yeah. Yeah.
Because if that person isn't all in and they're not all in on you personally,
Mm.
then it's just like it's a losing battle
It
from day
is.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, the support staff, my wife, man, I mean, you can't ask for anybody better,
Yeah,
and that foundation, it helps because, as you stated before, an entrepreneur it's a lonely road,
it is.
because
Yeah,
not a lot of people can relate to that because not a lot of people take that chance, that leap, what have you, so yeah, having just someone who loves you, you can come home and just, feel at ease to a certain extent.
yeah.
It helps, because as you know, as a business owner, I mean, even on weekends, your mind, you don't shut off.
You don't shut off.
You don't,
Yep.
and that's one of the, I guess, downsides or the curses, if you will, to starting this path, which detours a lot of people. But like I tell people, if you have that strong enough passion for whatever the hell business you start, all the bullshit, all the problems, all the people that bring issues, like none of that matters. You just roll with it because your passion, the flame is strong,
Yeah,
and you just roll with it.
yeah.
Because if you don't have the passion, shit ain't gonna happen. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be hard even with passion, but at least you have some kind of motive, some drive. But yeah. So the flame to just do to like what you're doing, and then the foundation at home, with that support, it's huge. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. So when you think about, like, your vision,
Mhm.
say, like, 5 years from now, like, what does that look like for you?
Well, I mean, for me personally, because everybody's different. For me, I'd like to at some point have at least an employee or two. I mean, because
Yeah,
it's a slow process. Like I said, I'm not trying to get the big fancy truck right away, for as much as I want to. But yeah, that's probably my goal. Just the next slow step would be to hire just somebody to help me work out in the field, or just allow me to maybe step back out of the field and to grow the business side of it. Because
yeah,
that's probably my goal, and to maybe even be better about having systems. Because right now I do things my way, right? But I know deep down it's not like the best way, but it's how I know how to get shit done, and
right?
it works. So my fear is if I try to hire like an office gal or something, and I'm trying to teach them, well, it all makes sense up here to me, but I don't think it'd probably make sense out in the real world trying to explain it to somebody else. So I don't really have a system either. I just kind of do Joe's way, and that's how I've been doing things. So
Yeah, yeah.
I guess that's my answer to that. So
Yeah, man, and I mean, that's a good answer. Systems are huge.
yeah.
Like, when you bring employees on, I knew nothing about systems when I started.
Mm,
When you have employees in place, you have
mhm.
to have systems in place for sure, man. Do you ever look at, like, okay, this is a struggle, or, there's times that this is such a struggle that, do you ever think about it like, well, I could go be a union electrician and make $180,000 a year? Because
Mhm.
I mean, that's a real number,
Sure,
right?
sure.
I mean, obviously, you could be traveling. There's like a number of
Oh,
variables
yeah,
with that,
sure, yeah.
but, like, do you ever go back and forth? Like, man, like, I could give up all this headache to go do XYZ.
It's funny, I mean, I'm sure at some point you probably still have those thoughts yourself too. Yeah, I've thought about it because, especially right now in the beginning stages, like, you're not making the money you used to as an employee working for a established business, right?
Yeah,
I was making good money, I really was, and I made that sacrifice, that jump, and yeah, I'll be honest, I miss that, right? But, I guess I'll just say this, I didn't ever feel fulfilled working for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though, it was more stress-free for me, I just didn't feel fulfilled, and the older I've gotten, I know I'm only 28, but I've learned at an early age that life's too short, and honestly, Josh, I'm happier doing the shit I do, um, for as crazy as that sounds.
No, so that sounds crazy to the person who doesn't have that fire inside them,
Mhm,
right? That sounds crazy to the person that, that doesn't have that entrepreneurial bug,
mhm,
right? That resonates with me because I feel the same way.
mhm,
Like when I was an employee, I was making good money, but I was like, I wasn't happy.
mhm,
Like I wasn't fulfilled.
sure.
And like I know with my business, I mean, there's times constantly where I'm like, God damn, is this worth it?
Sure.
Is this
Yeah,
worth it? Like, how much longer do I want to beat my head against the wall?
sure,
But at the end of the day, like it does kind of feed that fire,
sure.
right? Like, and you know what that feels like,
Mhm,
right?
I do.
And that's why you get out of bed every morning, and that's why you stay up late, and that's why you
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, and me, I mean, you kind of know me to a certain extent. Like, I'm not like really an outgoing person, but I like to interact with people. I like to, for as weird as this may sound, I like to see how people live, like be in people's houses, not in a creepy way, but I just like to just like, I don't know. I just like to just see different parts of how people operate and interact with people, and just
Yeah,
that's what makes it also fun, I guess. And of course, you're gonna run into those typical every once in a while Karens, if you will. But
absolutely.
you just roll with it. Like I said,
Yeah,
they don't come around often, which is good, at least in my experience. But yeah, I don't know. It's just the people interaction that allows me to enjoy it, and it's always a different job site every day for me. For the most part, there's days where it prolongs, but yeah, because I feel like if I'm on a job for, I don't know, probably more than a week, I usually get bored after a while. But
yeah.
so after like say one house, I'm done for. Don't give me another house for probably a little bit. But as a business owner, I'll take whatever. But
So you like to do more of the small projects and the service stuff where you're kind of there for a day or two and then you're on to the
yeah,
next thing?
the projects to me are kind of what helps the business grow, though.
Yeah,
Service kind of just pays the bills, I guess, in a way. Yeah, I don't know. I like it all. So yeah, I guess that's all I'll say to that. So
yeah. So how are you generating leads right now? Just kind of from your personal
yeah,
network?
sure. So I don't know how you do it, but for me, honest to God, like it's been mostly just word of mouth. And when I find myself getting a little slow, I honestly just go on Facebook and just post like an actual post, not an ad, but a post,
Uh-huh.
and just saying, "Hey, you know, this is our services, this is what we offer, da 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 da. We're based out of Yakima. We service these areas. If you guys need anything, let me know. Reach out, call or text Joe, basically." And that has worked, in my opinion, far better than paying on Facebook ads or Google ads. And I don't know the algorithms. I don't know how to do any of that
Yeah.
crap. So maybe that's just why I've had bad luck with all that. But I find more leads being generated better basically through word of mouth or free Facebook posts, really. And I understand that's probably not the way to truly end up getting to scaling, but it at least helps me continue to build my business at a steady financial pace, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I do. So
Right on. So personal network and then just some socials. Just some
yeah,
basic socials.
and honestly, obviously that blades into you got to do good work to be able to get that
Right.
word of mouth. And yeah, I've been steadily a month booked out for the last
It's good, man.
yeah, I'm not shitting the bed. I'm not stressing. I got the
Yeah.
work, but I do want to make sure that that's steady so I can feel comfortable enough to hire somebody because I don't want to just hire somebody and they're good to me in my business and then a month later I'm like, sorry, man, I gotta let you go. I don't want to
Yeah.
do that to people.
Absolutely.
So anyway, yeah.
I mean, that's amazing that you're always a month out.
Hmm.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, when you do kind of decide that you are going to scale,
Hmm.
um, you know, just, keep that mindset, and
Sure.
keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah. Is that what you do? Do you do ads and stuff like
I
that?
mean, I mean, we do. I mean, I have a budget of like it's very small, dude, like $400 a month on
Sure.
like paid Google stuff.
Hmm.
And we'll boost some posts on socials, but And that stuff's hard to track, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and it's a necessary evil, don't get me wrong, but, it's sometimes you feel like you're just lighting money on fire,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, but yeah, man, I mean, you know, you start going down, like, the marketing rabbit holes and
Mhm.
you see kinda read what bigger companies do, and,
Sure.
you know, they spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month on marketing
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and that's something that the last couple of years that I've been, you know, more in tune with.
Sure.
The first like 7, 6, 7 years of my business, like I didn't want to do service work.
Mhm.
Like we had so much construction work that it was like when people would call for service, I would just be like, "Hey, I'll get you on a list, and like if we can get to it, we'll call you."
Sure.
And that's such a terrible model. Like it's
Yeah.
because you know, like what I found is doing the service work and doing the small stuff leads to better
Yeah.
projects, you know, and you're getting your name out there and you're building rapport with people in the community. Like there's so much more value with doing service work than what I had initially thought. And so, you know, the first 6, 7 years,
Mhm.
there we were so consumed with construction work that that was like our bread and butter,
Sure.
and it still is. But the last 3 years, like I've been making a conscious effort to
Mm.
grow the service side of
Sure.
things.
So when you
And
get oh, I'm sorry, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so when you get to that point where you're getting calls and you're starting to kind of shimmy work away because you're too busy, and that's where I'm at kinda now, um, is that a determining factor? Okay, maybe I should hire somebody now to
100%.
okay, I mean, that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think you know that.
Yeah.
You know, and there's always like when you're trying to make that decision, like there's always doubt in your head, right?
Sure.
And you're scared and you're like, man, there's all these things that could go wrong.
Mhm.
But but the real growth happens when you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying just go put yourself in a hard situation to do it,
Yeah, sure.
but, you know, you're thinking about it the right way, right? You're
Yeah.
like, "Okay, so I'm getting calls and I'm turning away work because I can't get to it in a timely fashion."
Sure.
100%. Like, that's like, "Okay, I could hire somebody."
Sure.
Because then it's like, if you have a guy in another van, it's like, now that conversation is like, "Absolutely, I can get someone there next week."
Mhm. Sure.
You know, we're busy this week, but I can get, you
Yeah.
know, employee XYZ over there on Monday because
Yeah.
his schedule is somewhat loose.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, and that's how you start building momentum,
Right.
right? It's like now it goes from Joe to Joe and Joe number 2, we'll
Mm.
call it.
Sure.
And now you're billing more hours, man.
Mhm.
Like scaling a service business or a contracting business like this all comes down to billable hours,
Mhm.
right? If you're cranking out billable hours, somebody's paying for themselves.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, the other big thing is to know your numbers.
Mhm.
And we can get into the weeds on that,
Sure.
you know, like off air or another time. But if you're concerned about not knowing the numbers, charge what your competitors charging.
Mhm.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know shit about business when I started
Mhm.
this, but I had a friend of mine say, "Well, you know, if you're not sure what to charge, why don't you just call around and see what other guys are charging?"
Sure.
And it's like, okay, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Like I know one of my biggest competitors down the street,
Mhm.
like I know what they charge
Sure.
and he's been in business for 25 years.
Mhm.
And so like if he's charging that and he's made it all these years, like he obviously knows something,
That's right. Yeah.
right? And so like people can overcomplicate this process.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've done over the years is it's like if I see a different company or if I see somebody doing something that works,
Mhm.
there's no shame in doing what that person's doing,
Sure.
right? Like you can look at their systems, you can look at what they're doing, you can make tweaks to it, you can
Mhm.
make but some people get so obsessed with with like reinventing the wheel,
Sure.
and it's like it doesn't have to be that difficult.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's valuable advice right there.
Yeah. And for me, kinda to touch on that from my experience, and I don't know if you had it when you started, but, like, when I first started, and I still kinda struggle with this a little 'cause I'm an honest guy,
Yeah.
and, you know, sometimes you feel bad because you quote these people, and you're like after you're done making the quote at your desk, you're like, "Holy shit, like, that's a lot of money, right?"
Yeah.
And then you kinda are like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna tweak that down a little bit." I used to have that problem. I still kinda do 'cause I'm an honest guy. I'm not trying to gyp people and make people break the bank, but, you know, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, "Okay, well, I still gotta make money."
Uh,
So, I guess that's something I kinda, in a way, still struggle with, like, I want to make money, but I want to be honest. But
Yeah.
you know, th- I do got to remember I run a business, and I mean, whatever the price is, I mean that's just what it is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that kind of ties into like knowing your numbers, right? And
Sure.
so I don't know how you estimate, but like I'm still doing like I call it a nuts and bolts takeoff, right?
Mhm.
Like I have all my parts pricing, I know my labor pricing, I'm building the job, on paper. I'm a pen and paper kind of
Sure. Yep.
guy.
Me too.
Um and then I'm putting my markup on my parts,
Yep.
and I'm charging the appropriate labor rates to where
Sure.
like I know I'm making money.
That's right.
And dude, like the cost of stuff has just gotten so out of
Yeah,
hand,
it's crazy.
that it kind of is what it is, right?
Right.
And being fair with people is a huge part of it, right?
Mhm.
Like you want to be fair, you want to be honest, you want to be transparent, but the flip side of that is um your business has to survive,
That's right. Yeah.
right? And especially when you bring employees on, like there's a
Mhm.
whole nother level of expenses that come with
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
And so the other thing you have to keep in mind is, so maybe some of these jobs that you bid, turn out to be home runs, right?
Sure.
Well, the flip side of that is when you have employees and you're not fully controlling that,
Mhm.
like some of those jobs are going to be bunts or
Yep.
singles,
Yep.
right? And so it all has to wash out.
Sure.
And the biggest thing that you have to keep tabs on is like this is what I think is one of the biggest things, is knowing your job costing.
Mhm.
And so what I mean by that is, you have a bid, we're going to use round numbers. When you have a bid, let's say it's $10,000,
Mhm.
your crew goes out and does it with parts, labor, overhead, all that stuff. Let's say it costs, $9,000. You have to be able to look at that and extract the data from it and
Mhm.
know why.
Sure.
Okay, there's this much labor in it, there's this much material in it, this was my profit margin,
Yep.
and you start compiling that data so you can be more precise on future bids.
Right.
And so like for me, that's been the biggest thing, and that's what I mean by knowing the numbers, is by
Mhm.
knowing your job costing,
Sure.
deciding what profit margin you need to make on jobs for it to be worth all of the headache,
Mhm.
right? Um, and if you have that stuff, if you have that information, if you have a program that keeps that stuff for you, it's going to give you more confidence with the estimating.
Sure.
You're going to have a better pulse on your pricing. And when you have to be competitive against somebody else,
Mhm.
you're going to be like, okay, I can do it for this cheap and I can still make 10 to 15%.
Sure.
It's still worth it. We're still making money.
Right.
So just knowing the numbers in general is like, it's crucial.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And that's kind of my probably one of the things I still struggle with. I know to a certain extent because I do everything. So I know where I'm sitting, what I got to make, whatever to a certain extent. But being that I wear all the hats, there's times where I'm just mentally just focusing on the actual labor. And then
Mhm.
you get home and you're just all burnt out and you don't really care. You're just on to the next job on it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I I know I'm in the green. I'm doing good, but I feel like I could be better about having a system of some sort in place
Yeah,
to figure
so
that out.
so are you doing anything like are you getting your parts from parts houses?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, are you doing anything like PO numbers or job numbers for each job?
So I mean, I just put the PO like whatever the customer's name
Whatever the
is.
customer's name is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that's not bad, but, like, one thing you could do to start helping you with this is, you could just get on Google Sheets and you could create job numbers. Like what we
Mhm.
do is like the year followed by the job number.
Sure.
So E25-001,
Okay.
year 2025, job number one.
Sure.
Address all your labor and all your parts to that job.
Sure.
How are you doing your invoicing? Are you invoicing daily, weekly, monthly? Like when do you sit down and do
So
invoices?
I do everything daily, no matter what, because I don't have time to sit down and just I I just get everything done because yeah, I don't have time to sit down and just I feel like
Yeah,
I'd be behind if I don't do it.
I mean,
Uh,
for owner operator, that's great.
yeah, and I will say this: being very organized has helped me tremendously. It's
Yeah.
and communicative as well. But organization, man, I don't get stressed out. Honest to God, on the business side of it, like the paperwork and
Yeah.
stuff. I don't get stressed out. It's honestly the customers that'll every once in a while stress me out. Other than that, that's really it. I don't get stressed out overall, but
Yeah.
if I can just be on top, yeah. But that leads to, like I said, late nights sometimes because I'm crazy and I want to get it done.
Yeah.
But I get it done and I feel good. But
Well, that's good, man, because where a lot of guys really fail is on the paperwork side of it.
yeah,
And so if you're doing that daily and you're keeping up on that and you're
mhm,
not letting stuff stack up for a month and
sure,
then going back and trying to figure out
yeah,
parts and labor for jobs you
yep,
did a month ago,
yeah,
that's huge. So kudos to you for that.
hmm
But yeah, man, when you start scaling and you start getting employees, it costs money to have like a program, a labor tracking program, but
yep,
you got to have it,
yeah,
man.
oh yeah, for sure.
You got to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of Service Titan. I've heard of, I think when you had me on years ago, I think you had Job Shark or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
Clock Shark.
Yeah,
Yep,
Clock Shark.
yep.
So I know there's things out there, but and maybe there's a poor mindset to have, but because I wear all the hats and I'm doing something all the time, I feel like I don't have time to teach myself to implement those or even to
Yeah,
just download the app and just dink with it on my phone.
yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of what I struggle with. I just don't have time to better my system processes.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a hard thing to do when you're wearing all the hats, man.
Yeah.
It is, but the only thing I could suggest on that is, if you do know you're going to scale in 3 months or 6 months
Sure.
or whatever that timeline looks like for you, I would highly encourage you to have some systems in place before you do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the a time tracking thing is a very big deal.
Mhm.
Um, like I use Builder Trend and, for, a 2, 3 man shop. I don't know if the money's worth it, but
Mhm.
I mean, I think it is, but, um, you do a daily log, you take photos, you
Mhm.
document, everything
Sure.
from that job. It keeps track of your labor.
Yep.
Um, materials, that way it's all there,
Sure.
right? And so, like, you have to kind of play these scenarios out in your head. It's like, okay, so right now it's just Joe,
Mhm.
and Joe keeps track of Joe.
Sure.
And it sounds like you do a pretty good job because you've been in business for, 3.5 years. And
Mhm.
so, like, the system for Joe tracking Joe works, right?
Right. Sure.
But does that system scale with 3, 4, 5
Right.
employees?
Correct.
It
Yeah.
doesn't.
It
The
doesn't.
answer's no.
Yeah. It doesn't.
And so it's like when you're honest with yourself, it's like, okay, the answer is no, it doesn't. Like
Mhm.
like there's holes in the bucket is what
Sure.
I call it, right? You're missing material, you're missing labor, you don't have all the information from the employees to like bill it properly.
That's
And
right.
so
Yeah.
you're like, you're filling this bucket with work, but instead of you billing everything in the bucket,
Mm.
it's leaking out
Yeah.
because there isn't a system in place
Sure.
to catch all these things.
Mm.
And so before you scale, like you should carve out the time to like sit through some of the product demos. Like,
Yeah.
you just named a few of them.
Mm.
And there's a whole bunch of them out there. And yeah, man, there's time involved.
Yeah.
Like there's time involved, there's money involved. But
Mhm.
if you have some systems in place before you scale
Mhm.
and you're like, hey, this is the standard, you bring employees on and you're
Right.
like, hey, this is the standard from day one. Like you put this on your phone, you clock in, you clock out, you take the photos,
Sure.
you do this, like you set that's the standard from day one,
Mhm.
then there's nothing to argue about. It's
Right.
like, this is just a part of how we do business. This
Sure.
is how I keep track of what you're doing. This is how I keep tabs on all these jobs.
Mhm.
And if you can set those things up from day one, you will set yourself up for success.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you gotta make sure the damn employee is on it every day,
100%.
because
Yeah.
there's days where they probably forget or they're just not responsible. They just go to work and do their thing, which is fine, but then you don't know come the time of billing what to bill the appropriate number for the customer.
100%. Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, now we gotta go figure out what the hell. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the exact scenario.
Mhm.
And that's the exact scenario. And that's why I say, like, by having that standard out of
Mhm.
the gate, it's like, hey, man, this is the standard. You clock in on this thing. You,
Sure.
you do the logs, you take the photos, whatever that process looks like for your
Sure.
company.
Yeah.
But, that's the standard. And
Mhm.
then, like, the unfortunate part is you're right. Like, some people aren't going to do that all the time.
Mm.
And then you have to have the conversation like, hey, man, like, where are your hours from yesterday? Like, I'm
Sure.
sure you want to be paid for that
Yeah,
time.
sure.
Well, the flip side of that conversation is well, I got to bill that time.
Mhm.
And so dude, and it escalates from there. You know,
Mhm.
you throw 10 employees on that program
Sure.
and now you're keeping tabs of 10 employees, 30 jobs.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing I guess I'll touch on, like, I don't wanna I guess for me, I don't know if I wanna get to the point where I wanna be so big like Campbell and Company. I have found working for larger companies that the communication and the organization, it's just total shit. I mean, because you got so many people involved
Yeah.
and nobody I mean, there's no perfect communicator, and if you get all these people and all these boots on the ground and whatever, like, it just ain't right.
Yeah, the small feel goes away real quick,
Yeah, it
man.
does. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does, and then also not only that, but, like, just from the working labor standpoint, like, I feel like the bigger you get, to a certain extent, like, the how I say, oh, what's the word? The productivity or the effort in the job just depletes, like, it looks like a half-assed job was done, but the job got done, I don't know
Yeah.
what the word I'm trying to look for is, but you know what I mean, like,
Yeah, the quality
quality.
suffers. Yeah,
Yeah.
the quality suffers, you know, as you scale,
Mhm.
like as you scale, that's a hard thing to do, man, is, you know, but you have to have those core guys with you
Sure, yeah.
where like my two leads right now, I mean, we align on the quality and it's
Mhm.
like, hey man, like I can't be on every job. So
Sure,
you're on these jobs, you're making sure the quality control is there.
sure, yeah.
And so it all comes down to systems, man. And I mean, it's, you know, you can go on and on about
Sure.
this stuff, but like what I would say to kind of streamline it is like for you is I would write down a goal,
Mhm.
like, or a handful of goals, like, and I'd put a timeline on it, man. I'd
Yeah.
say, hey, you know, in 2 years, this is what I want this to look like.
Mhm.
And I would put a revenue goal together too, man. And
Sure.
and if you want, like I would help you with that. Like I could help you sit down and just kind of write out some different things and maybe come up with like a rudimentary game plan.
Mhm.
You know,
Sure.
like I don't want to give you like the quarterback version
No,
of
for
it
sure, yeah.
because you are a
Yeah,
competitor,
for sure, yeah, I
but
get that.
and God, that's kind of the petty side of me. Like I shouldn't look at it like that. Like you're such a good person that I probably would help you through it. But what I'm saying is if you put a goal together
Mhm.
and you somewhat put a plan in place,
Sure.
it takes some of that anxiety away
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, well now if I have, you know, somewhat of a plan in place that somebody has helped me with that has done this before,
Mhm.
you know that it can work if you execute the plan.
That's right.
And so I would say that's kind of the first step.
Mhm.
And then from there, it's like just knowing you have a pipeline of work to bring on an employee or two.
Sure.
And so, and it's like you have to get out of that. You have to stop talking yourself out of it,
Yeah,
right?
for
Like you
sure.
said earlier in the conversation, like there are plenty of times where I'm turning work away because I just can't do it.
Mhm.
And so, like that right there to me says, like, okay, well, you know, depending on what your bank account looks like
Mhm.
maybe it's time to scale
Yeah.
if that's what you want to do.
Mhm.
And that's where it comes back to having a goal in mind
Mhm.
and saying, okay, yeah, man, I do want to scale this thing to maybe $1 million a year.
Sure.
And then maybe or if you don't want to do that, then it's like maybe you look at a way to get yourself more efficient and your systems more efficient to where
Mhm.
you're just taking care of Joe on a higher level.
Sure.
But that conversation starts with like having a goal in mind.
Mhm. For sure. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that pretty much sum it up. Yeah, just have a system and just work on it and
yeah.
just build
It,
off of that.
yeah, and it's hard, man. Like right now, like you've figured it out well enough to be successful, right?
Mhm.
And and that can't be discredited, right? Like there's a lot of guys that try and fall on their face in 6 months. And so what you've done is amazing. I mean, it's a big thing. You're in that 3.5 year space. I mean, there's a lot of guys that don't make it there.
Mhm.
But like what I would say for you is like, you know, you just kind of have to decide like, okay, do I want to just work for myself and do what I'm doing and create myself a good, comfortable living?
Sure.
At that point, you've created yourself a high paying job,
Sure. Yep.
you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like the business experts will say, oh, well, why don't you just go out and work for
Yeah.
somebody and make the same amount of money?
Right.
Because I hear that shit all the time.
Sure.
And there is truth to that, right?
You're right.
Like you could get away from some of these headaches and you
Mhm.
could go work for someone else and you could probably make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
but on a personal level, you're not fulfilled,
Mhm.
right? And so, but by having that vision, it's like, okay, maybe I do want to get to $1 million a year. Well, you can do that with 4 employees
Yeah.
because I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen it. I've done it, and
Mhm.
it's not glorious,
Sure.
but it can be done.
Mhm.
Um, and so, but yeah, dude, I hate to beat a dead horse, but it starts with just kind of having like a goal in mind of what you want to do with your life.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. That's good. And kind of to touch on something else too, like, you know, the Yakima Valley, I feel like in a way is kind of saturated with electricians.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And because of that, I feel like when you're trying to outreach for, I guess, mentor or some help, we all have that. How you use the term petty side in a way because
Yeah.
you're a competitor, right? So me as a young buck out in the entrepreneurial world, I'm just trying to get advice from people, but the thing is you don't know who to look to because it's such a saturated market in a way, and everybody wants
Yeah.
they want it, right? And I
Yeah.
get that, but I'm just trying to learn, man. Eventually, we're all gonna have the same clients or like I don't know. It's just such a small area for so many electricians. Like we're all gonna be stepping over each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know. So it's
Yeah, and
just
it's a tough area to be an electrical contractor, man.
it
There's a
is.
lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of small shops, I mean, fuck, I'm a small shop. I
Hmm.
mean,
Sure.
and it is, and people are, and like right now we're in this little recession.
Hmm.
There's not as much work,
Yeah.
and there's not as much new construction,
Sure.
residential stuff going on, and so people are more guarded with their stuff,
Sure.
versus, when it's been so busy that some of the bigger guys can't get to stuff. I
Sure.
mean, I was getting overflow work from bigger guys for years.
Yeah.
But right now things are slower, and so like I
Sure.
haven't been getting any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, I mean, it's you could call me and pick my brain on stuff. I mean, I'm 100% open to that.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So,
Because right now you're the only guy that's like actually willing to like talk to me and just so it means a lot. It's cool. Um, but I have come a long way by myself. But
yeah.
I I want to get to the point where maybe talking to somebody that has already been through what I'm doing right now
Yeah.
and can at least guide me. Obviously, not tell me all your secrets, but just guide
Yeah,
me in the right direction.
absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
respect that. Like I'm not trying to steal your jobs or nothing. I'm just trying to do what you do at your level and just trying to grow.
Yeah,
Hon
absolutely.
Being honest
Yeah.
about it.
Are you doing anything, like, do you have anything for you, like, on a personal level, like
Mhm.
like, just to kinda help keep your mental health kinda, like, just in a good space? Like,
For as crazy as this may sound, I believe in God. I have faith.
absolutely.
Um,
That's
and
not crazy at all, man.
well, in today's world, a lot of people, you know how it is out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I don't broadcast it. I keep it to myself. I pray every day. And I like to believe that faith has gotten me where I have gotten up to this point in my 28 years of life. So that's kind of what I try to lean towards to stay positive.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a boring guy. If you ask me, like, what's your hobbies? I don't really have any hobbies. I'm just kind of just working all the time, building my what I like to call my empire because I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Um, but I do find myself lately just wanting to maybe find something to keep me a little more sane, I guess, because
Yeah.
I wear all the hats, and there's times where it's like I get tired of electrical work to a certain extent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's more to life than just that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you should like on a personal level, like I will say, man, like you should find something.
mhm,
Like first 6, 7 years of my business, I just grinded and grinded and grinded,
yeah,
and I'm still grinding, like, don't get me
sure.
wrong, like,
It's
just in different
it's
ways
different. Yeah,
now.
yeah,
But, like, I reached a point in, year 7, 8 where, like, I was just so burned out that, like, I was over it,
yeah,
and, like things were rough, like things got rough at home, like I
sure,
was like I wasn't in a good space, man.
sure.
And like I've gotten real into like working out and fitness stuff,
Nice.
and um just trying to do some stuff to kind of help like deal with the stress.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's something to just be mindful of, man. Like just kind of take some personal inventory sometimes,
Mhm.
and you should find something
Mhm.
that is not business related
Sure.
that you can detach for, an hour, even if it's an hour a week.
Mhm.
But I would highly encourage you to kind of, like, don't discredit that, man.
Sure. Yeah.
Find time to, do something with your wife, or,
Yeah, for sure.
just be mindful of that, man. Like,
Mhm.
don't get obviously, you have to be consumed with growing your business to grow your business.
Sure.
Like you have to be all in,
Mhm.
but be mindful of, like, taking a step back sometimes
Mhm.
and, like, detaching from it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because, like, if you don't, like, as you scale, the stress level gets higher, the
Mhm.
stakes get higher,
Yep.
there's more money on the line. Like
Mhm.
like like those things compound. Like that little bit of anxiety that you have now,
Mhm.
when you scale and you bring employees on, will start compounding,
Yeah.
and it will turn into a monster. Like, your business will turn into a monster that you have to feed. Like, it'll be a fire breathing dragon
Mhm.
that you have to keep wood in front of.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, like, knowing that going into it, like, if you have some things in place to kind of help you deal with the stress,
Mhm.
like, it will be a big deal
Yeah.
later.
And I agree. And like you said, it just kinda goes back to also the wife at home, great support staff, right? I mean, I love her to death, and I vowed to myself and to her, like, I don't wanna get so consumed to where, there's a divorce at stake or whatever, and
Yeah.
my marriage has been happy. I've been with her for almost 10 years, been married for 3, 4 years now, but, I wanna keep it like that, and,
Yeah.
there is I believe work-life balance doesn't necessarily exist, but you can, like you say, learn to manage it and
100%.
be good about it,
Yep.
and it's just a different road, man. It's a lonely road, and it's not for everybody, but, life's too short, so why not?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I respect the hell out of that, dude, for trying. It's like, I respect the hell out of that, man.
Sure.
When somebody has the stones to give it a real go.
Mhm.
I mean, it's admirable in my book. Like,
Yeah.
some people think it's crazy or it's stupid or whatever, but I mean, dude, the reality of it is, man, is you've made it 3.5 years, and you should be proud of that.
Yeah.
You should be proud of that. But to kind of wrap it up, like, I would just say, get a goal board going, man.
Mhm.
Like, write it down, like, and come up with a plan, and
Sure.
just kind of look at it like that,
Mhm.
and then just have those honest conversations with yourself, man.
Sure.
Like, do I want to scale it?
Mhm.
Do I want to just keep Joe going?
Yeah.
Like, and there's nothing wrong with either one,
Yeah.
but if you just kind of hone it in,
Mhm.
then from there you can kind of start formulating a plan.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's good advice. Yeah, and who knows, maybe I'll start another business on top of this one and just grow. I don't know, but one thing at a time, I
Yeah,
suppose,
one
so.
thing at a time. It's important to have those big dreams and those big goals, man,
Mhm.
because that's how people do extraordinary things.
Mhm. That's right. Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
So, all right, guys, I think, if there's anything else, Joe, I mean, I think I've covered all the stuff that
Yeah,
I was curious about.
yeah. No, I think we've touched on a lot, both on a business standpoint and a personal standpoint to a certain extent, and,
Yeah.
it's good to have these conversations with, like-minded individuals such as yourself,
Yeah, I
'cause
couldn't agree more.
it's hard to find those people and have a true conversation, so
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
being on here, so.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you making the time
Yeah.
to come check it out. And, if you guys found value with the show, give us a like, give us a share. Tell that young entrepreneur that's thinking about diving in feet first to have a listen to this, because there's a ton of valuable information on this show. All right, guys, that's all I have. Josh at Wired Wasmart.